Comedy used to be so simple. A goofy character, a wild situation, a punchline that hits hard. And that was enough. No moral lessons required. No agenda, no heavy handed message telling us how to think. Just pure laughter. But somewhere down the line, people started expecting every comedy, whether it be animated or live action, to mean something. Suddenly, it became a problem. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Rocker Viking Reviews. And today, we are talking about that very shift. Where it came from, and why it might be killing the fun of comedy itself. Comedy has always reflected the culture around it, sure. But it wasn't always like that. It wasn't always responsible for fixing the culture around it. Look at the classic shows, both animated and live action. Like, for example, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, one of my personal favorite live action comedies. South Park, even a modern one like SpongeBob SquarePants. Malcolm in the Middle, and even another personal favorite, animated favorite, Ed, Edd n Eddy. Man, sometimes some episodes find heart. They have heart. Some didn't. But the focus was always entertainment first. Nowadays, certain viewers expect every joke to clear a moral bar. Almost all comedies need to justify their own existence. But here's the thing. Comedy ain't a damn TED Talk. It's supposed to let people breathe, not pile more pressure on to it. The thing is, we started seeing this shift when people began digging into comedies. Not just for the jokes, but for any problems hidden inside said jokes. One famous and prime example of this, we all know where I'm going with this, the documentary, The Problem with Apu. Man, I knew this was going to come. It argued that Apu's portrayal on the hit TV show The Simpsons reinforced negative stereotypes. And whether you agree with the conclusion or disagree, the documentary changed how studios reacted to characters like him. After this damn documentary released, we saw characters rewritten, voice actors replaced. I noticed that very quickly. Even popular storylines toned down to fit certain narratives. Not because the audience said, "Ooh, this isn't funny," but because the industry itself feared the conversation. The conversation that could have followed it. And one of the biggest ripple effects from the Apu conversation and controversy was the tidal wave of voice actor replacements. All of a sudden, characters who had been voiced by the same actor for 10, 20, hell, even 30 years were recasted. purely because the veteran actor didn't match the character's ethnicity. Now, prime example, you had a white guy voicing a black guy on Family Guy. One white guy actually voiced multiple black guys on The Simpsons. A white guy, the main thing, part of this was a white guy voiced an Indian American man. Make that make sense. Thing is, shows like Family Guy, The Simpsons, Netflix's Big Mouth, and Apple TV's Central Park all made these changes. Even though the performances of the original characters' actors, or better yet, the voices of the original characters themselves were beloved and iconic. And look, there's nothing wrong with representation. It is important. But here's a question that I need to raise on this. If a performance is respectful, funny, and iconic, does changing it really make it better? Or are studios doing it because they're scared of legit criticism? When fear starts guiding creative decisions, comedy stops feeling natural and normal. It becomes a literal checklist. Now, another area where this arrives is in both whitewashing and gender swapping controversies. Now, whether it's animation or live action, every casting choice turns into a debate. Sometimes the criticism is absolutely valid. Others, on the opposite hand, don't like the decisions that are made and complain online and often bully creators into making it right. There's other times when studios bend over backwards, like a chiropractor's wet dream, to quote-unquote correct something that wasn't even hurting anyone. When creators focus more on avoiding backlash than making people laugh, comedy suffers. Big time. Thing is, when doing this crap, we end up with completely watered down jokes. I've heard those numerous times. Safe jokes, way too predictable storylines, and shows trying to quote unquote teach instead of trying to entertain. And with that, it becomes the irony. In trying not to offend anyone, they stop being funny altogether to everyone. Now, here's a wild hot take or thought for you. Something old school but timeless. It's okay for a comedy to exist just to be funny. Not every cartoon needs a message. Not every sitcom needs to represent everyone perfectly. And honestly, not every joke needs a college-length thesis behind it. I mean, hell, I could come up with a random-ass idea of a guy becoming friends with a sentient fart, and it'll probably become a big hit, but most people will be thinking, but what's the story behind it? There's no story behind it. It's just a young dude who became friends with his sentient fart that came out of his ass. Thing is, sometimes the best comedies are the ones brave enough to be stupid, loud, chaotic, and ridiculous. Thing is, these are the ones that make you forget everything else for 22 minutes or more. Because Humor is a release. It's mainly a relief. And when you bury that under responsibility, you lose the spark that made or makes comedy special in the first place. Like I said, you can come up with a random idea and you can get a kid to laugh. You can get a guy with an IQ of 20 to laugh at that. And it'd probably be a big hit, but not, like I said, not everything needs a message. So now I've come to my final thoughts. And I have to say this. And I have the question to ask you. Do all comedies, animated or live action, need a message? Absolutely not. And forcing messages into every project doesn't create better art. It just creates boxes for creators and puts them into corners. It puts them in a hole that, or to put it in a better term, puts them in a hole that they can't get out of. Thing is, comedy should be a playground, not a lecture hall. It shouldn't be a town hall meeting where, oh my God, this show offended me. I think they should cancel it and everyone else should listen to what I say. And the thing is, like I said, it doesn't have to be like that. Not at all. Because to be honest, if everything was like that, if everyone was that single-minded and had a single brain cell like that, we wouldn't have great comedies. We wouldn't have Dogma. We wouldn't have Futurama. We wouldn't have The Simpsons. We wouldn't have Family Guy. American Dad would not even air. Heck, some of the shit that we grew up with, like Blazing Saddles, wouldn't even get made today. Hell, it won't get made today because of how... Ugh. Thing is, comedies should be, like I said, a playground, not a lecture hall. And thing is, the more we let comedians, writers, and animators actually play, the better the whole genre becomes. Take us back to when content creators or, people who write TV shows actually had a backbone and had a sense of humor and wasn't afraid to pretty much tell it like it is. I mean, hell, watch Brickleberry. That shit didn't have a message at all. It was just pure slapstick bullshittery. And I was there for it. I loved it. I remember when the show premiered, I laughed my ass off. But no, not everything needs a message. Not everything needs a moral high ground. Not everyone needs to stand up to evil or stand up to bigotry or stand up in general. Pretty much what I'm getting at is not all TV shows need to be the same. Be different. Be creative. Or else you're going to end up like Disney and then having multiple movies with the same damn message. Or the same damn animation, for that matter. If you're tired of comedy feeling sanitized, if you miss the fearless humor that just wants to make you laugh, trust me, you ain't alone. This has been Rocker Viking Reviews. I really hope you enjoyed this discussion, this video. If you like this, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and make sure to stay tuned because, like I said, in a post, or I'm pretty much going to say this right now, this is the last video of 2025 for me. There will be better videos in 2026. We'll have more discussions kind of like this. And we need to keep the conversations going. And with that being said, I got a bunch of freaking papers on this damn desk. And like I always say, and I got the script from the last video I did too, I'm going to use that same line to end this video. Strength is earned, wisdom is chosen, and your story isn't finished yet. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.